This is the North Georgia Life Podcast. Embrace life where you live. Welcome to the North Georgia Life Podcast. Jake, your host again. Today's episode, we are at another amazing location in North Georgia for your family, for those adventurers, and those that just kind of want to get out and get some fresh air and see a really, really amazing place in the southeast region of the country, but especially in North Georgia. We are with Liberty Gates. If you remember, you heard her on the Anaruby Falls episode. She is also over Brasstown Bald, which is the episode we're featuring today. And I'm going to tell you, there's not a whole lot of people that I really am envious of in where they live in terms of where they call home. Being in real estate, I see lots of different homes in all sorts of places. I really don't get envious or jealous almost ever. This is an exception to that because I won't spoil it, but Liberty has probably the best location to call home of anybody that I've ever met. And the only exception maybe not home, but if you listen to the episode from last fall, I don't remember, maybe November, December, Jason LeBlanc, I interviewed him at the Waterfall Club in Rabun County. He by far has the best office location of anybody I've ever known. And I am jealous of that. So Jason, if you ever need a suite mate in your office, give me a shout. I will make the drive. I'm that kind of guy. But Liberty, she wins. She wins as far as where she gets to call home. And her dog, like, how awesome is it to be the dog of Liberty Gates right now? So I won't spoil it for you, but listen in on a really, really cool story and a great location if you've not been to Brasstown Bald here in North Georgia. You guys know how to find us online, Facebook, Instagram, North Georgia Life Podcast. You can email us at northgeorgialifepodcast@gmail.com if you have ideas for future episodes. Hey, if you love some restaurants up in some of these areas and you know, like, hey, Jake, you've got to go talk to this restaurant owner or this, bakery owner or something like that because they've got just amazing, little boutique shop or restaurant or whatever. Hey, that's who this is for. We want to give those people a bigger audience, a platform, and all the people who are coming to Anaruby or Brasstown or any of these other parks that we're covering, we want to give these small businesses an extra platform for reaching a broader audience because they're clearly doing something that is going to knock your socks off, and we want to share that with the rest of the world here in North Georgia. So with that, we'll get started at Brasstown Bald with Liberty Gates. Welcome to the North Georgia Life Podcast. It's Jake, your host again, and today's episode will be a little bit of blast from the past because we are back with Liberty Gates, who is the program manager for Find Outdoors. A couple weeks ago, we did the episode on Anaruby Falls, so you got to meet Liberty a little bit there, but she is also the program manager at Brasstown Bald. And for those of you who have not been to Brasstown, you just got to go. You got to go at least once because I say this all the time on this podcast, but we have such an incredible area in our North Georgia region that has so many different things to do and explore and see that you just can't do pretty much anywhere else in the state, some places in the country. So we are just like fraught with things to do and sights to see, and Brasstown is an exception to no other because it is way up there. I mean, way up there in the state of Georgia, and has one of the most incredible vistas in the state. It is a 360-degree view from the top of Brasstown, which is part of where it gets its name from. Liberty, thanks again for your time today.
Yeah, thank you for having me back.
So for those of you who want a little background on Liberty, you can listen to the Anaruby Falls episode and get a little bit of her backstory. But we were talking about before, so being in real estate, I always ask kind of people where they live and, how long they've been there. And I think you have you have the best place that of anybody I've ever talked to. So tell us about where you live.
Yeah, so I am right now living on top of Brasstown Bald. So I wake up to some of the most beautiful views, really, that anybody could. I am so, so lucky. Yeah, there is an apartment on top of the mountain right now that I am living in. So lucky to be living in there. So I wake up in the morning, see really beautiful stuff, and walk down an awesome mountain and go to work. So I really have it made.
Yes, it's pretty incredible. Just curiosity question. From that height and where you're at, sunrises or sunsets generally better?
Oh, they are both so beautiful. Sometimes the fog comes in, which makes it a little, I mean, it's not even fog at this point. It's actual clouds. Because we're so, yeah. People are like, look at the fog. And I'm like, nope, you're in a cloud now.
You're in a cloud.
We're high enough to be in the clouds. So sometimes those come in and will sometimes block the view a little bit. But, man, they're both so beautiful. I think I may like sunrises a little bit more. And I think it's just maybe the time of day, just being, because I do it a lot of mornings. I just wake up early and just go out there and sit out there with my dog, and we just both watch the sun come up, and it's really just such a serene, peaceful, it's almost heavenly, really. It's ethereal almost experience. So both, it's hard to choose from, but they are both really beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I don't get jealous a whole lot, but that makes me a little jealous. So you hadn't been there that long, but you started it in a part-time capacity before your current position there?
Yes, I did. So when I was originally hired by Find Outdoors to work at Brasstown and Anna Ruby, I was still in school because I graduated just this past May from UGA. I was still doing my master's. So basically our busiest season is the summertime. You know, that's when so many people are coming. And so that's when it's like prime time to educate people, prime time to talk to people. But I was graduating in May, so I was supposed to be starting in May, which, you know, the summer's already started by that time.
Right.
And so basically I started in a part-time capacity so I could plan ahead for the upcoming recreational season. So I was working remotely, just usually pretty much making a lot of phone calls, emails, planning things to happen at Brasstown from Athens, from UGA.
Okay. From a programming standpoint, share with us a little bit about what all you have at Brasstown, because most people, like the first time that I went to Brasstown, you've just heard of it. You've heard, you know, this scenic view, 360-degree view. I guess on a clear day you can actually see Atlanta.
Yes, you
which
can,
is crazy.
yeah.
How far is it from Atlanta?
So driving, it's about 2 hours.
Yeah.
As crow flies, it's about 85 miles, so you can see, and it's usually in the fall when there's less clouds, and then also the vegetation releases this gas called isoprene gas. It's sort of a bluish gas, or looks blue, which is why we are called the Blue Ridge Mountains, or the Smoky Mountains are called the Smoky Mountains. But in the fall, that gas sort of dies down, so that's when you can see all the way to Atlanta. So the fall is the best time to see that. But yeah, it's pretty far, and it's really amazing how far you can see. I mean, to the north, you're looking at North Carolina, the east, South Carolina, south is the rest of Georgia, and west is Tennessee. And you're looking at the Smoky Mountains and the Blue Ridge Mountains all in one. It's really amazing, all the things that you're taking in.
Yeah, and it's a fairly short, I don't know if I cheated the system. I don't know if I did it right. But I just remember seeing that I think you could, is it right? You can actually hike all the way up, or you can just park and hike, like, I don't know. It felt like a half mile, quarter mile. It was short. I felt like I was being lazy. But but it's not, while it is super high, there's an easy way to get there that is not super exhaustive in terms of needing to be an experienced hiker to get to the overlook.
Yeah, so you can hike all the way from the bottom of the mountain, which is pretty big hike, but people do it pretty often. Or you can drive up a little bit and you can park in our parking lot, which is then you're entering the park area, and you can walk up, and it's about 1/6 of a mile.
Okay.
But it is very steep. By the time you get up there, you've basically walked 42 stories of stairs.
Oh, wow.
So you're really getting a workout in, but it is 100% worth it when you get up
100%.
there. We also usually offer a shuttle service. So we have a shuttle that goes up there. We currently are not offering that right now due to COVID restrictions. But yeah, we do have a few ways that people can get up there.
Gotcha. And share with us a little bit about what is at the top of the mountain.
Yeah, so at the top of the mountain,
other than your living
other than
quarters.
my awesome living quarters, me and my dog, that's what's up there. So we have an observation deck, which offers 360-degree views. So really, really beautiful. We also have a visitor center museum up there, which you can walk through. We have interactive things for kids and their families, and you can really just learn a lot about the Forest Service, and the history of the site. So it's pretty awesome. We also have a fire tower up there. And this fire tower watchtower is currently not in use, and people cannot go up there. But it was previously used by the Forest Service to look out for fires. We currently monitor fires in different ways with drones or planes and things like that. But you can see the watchtower when you're up there.
Wow. I didn't know what that was for, so...
Yeah, I know a lot of people don't know what it's for. They think it's just to get cool views, which I guess it is, but it has a bigger purpose.
So your organization is a nonprofit. You do a lot of programming, like we talked about at Anaruby and other states as well. Share with us a little bit about what all you do as far as programming there at Brasstown.
Yeah, so I had said in the Anaruby podcast, pretty much anything, and it's sort of the same.
Pretty much.
Just because, we had discussed how North Georgia is just so diverse, and there's just so many cool things. So I'll never run out of something to talk about, and really it's the same at Brasstown. So we, one thing I really like about Brasstown, I think, is when you get up there, you almost feel like you're in a different world.
Yes.
And that is a lot of the time due to the plant life that you see, because these plants don't occur at lower elevations, or the birds that you see and the hawks that you see flying around, and the weather that you're experiencing because it's a little colder up there because you're so high. So a lot of programs we have are sort of based on those things. So we do have programs on the unique plant life that's up there. We have programs where you're looking at the birds up there. I had mentioned Mark Warren, who has come and done a program on the Cherokees there. A really cool program that we're doing in just a little bit is a night photography program with two photographers, Chris Greer and Jason Clemens. And they're coming up there and they're doing an astrophotography session with some people.
Cool.
Because, you're being so high, there's not a lot of
light pollution.
other light, artificial light pollution. And so you're really, the stars up there is amazing. So, we really have programs on anything. So if you want to learn about something, let me know, and I'll figure something out.
That's pretty cool. I guess I probably should have covered this first. Can you share with us a little bit of the history of the Brasstown property itself? How I kind of laughed a little bit doing my own research of how Brasstown got its name.
With the confusion of what it actually is.
So share with us the property, what it is, when it was established, and how it got its name.
So Brasstown Bald was once Cherokee land. It got its name from the Cherokees. The Cherokee, they named it as New Green Place. The word was obviously different from New Green Place. I cannot pronounce that. I wish I could. I need to for my Cherokee. But so they called Brasstown Bald New Green Place. Although there was some confusion with the settlers. The settlers confused the Cherokee word for New Green Place with another word, which means place of brass. So to the settlers, it was a place of brass, and to the Cherokees, it was a new green place. The Cherokees also have a really cool origin story of how balds formed, and balds being clearings on top of mountains. And I've heard a few different stories, but I guess I like this one the best. This story goes that there was once a vicious beast who could fly and had claws and was coming down to different villages in the mountains and picking up their children and taking people. And the warriors of the tribes and
like
the
on
villages,
the Hobbit.
Yes. An evil little golem. Or dragon, coming and just terrorizing these villages. And so the warriors of these villages were like, we gotta kill this thing. We can't let this go on. But they were like, we can't find it. How do we find this thing? And so they went to the top of the tallest mountain and they created a clearing on this mountain so they could get a better view of where this beast was. And one of the warriors spotted the beast in a den. And so the warriors prayed to the Great Spirit and asked the Spirit to help them defeat this beast. And then all of a sudden the skies opened up and a bolt of lightning crashed down and struck the beast, and the beast died. And the warriors thanked the Great Spirit, and the Great Spirit promised the villages and the tribe that he would keep the top of the mountains open in case a beast like this was ever to return. So I like that. Cool. I like that origin story. Yeah.
Awesome.
But yeah, so Brasstown Bald was Cherokee land. When gold was found in North Georgia, the Cherokees were pushed out via the Trail of Tears. It then changed hands a few times. It was used as a trade route for a while. Eventually, it was owned by the Pfister and Vogel Leather Company, who was using hemlocks to extract tannic acid for tanning leather. That was pretty popular in North Georgia. And then that leather company decided to deed the upper quarter of the mountain to the Georgia Department of Forestry and Geologic Development. And that's when the first watchtower was built on top of the mountain. The Conservation or Civilian Conservation Corps came in and they built a new tower on the mountain. And eventually this land in the 40s was donated to the Forest Service, and the Forest Service in the 60s built the Visitor Center and Museum that is up there now, the observation deck, and the fire tower that currently stands on the mountain. And like I said earlier, that fire tower is currently no longer in use, but it's still a big draw, and the whole site is very popular for tourists.
Cool. So it was the Cherokee had the name Green Place, and the settlers interpreted that to mean brass.
Yeah, place of brass.
And they were probably like, where's all the brass?
Where is the brass? I've not found any brass. No brass.
I don't think brass means what you think it means.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's such a neat, just incredible place up there. I don't know if you could pin it down to a favorite part of that, or maybe in your experience with Find Outdoors, just a best memory so far, since you are fairly new at the property. But I mean, it's really it's one of those things that I don't even know how to properly describe it, because you're in one of the, like you said, one of the prettiest areas, I think, in the country, certainly in the Southeast, and you get to call it home. So it's kind of probably an unfair question to say, what's your favorite part of being able to call this home? But between your job and what you do, and just some of the people you've met and the stories you've heard or been a part of, anything stand out as just, so far the top of the mountain, so to speak?
It's a hard question because I do love all of it. I just feel so lucky each and every day. I would probably say my favorite part is seeing the realizations that people come to. Our organization is so dedicated to education, and Find Outdoors is just so dedicated to organization, getting people connected with the forest, which I value so much. So we totally welcome people coming to these sites and just taking selfies if they want to, or just taking in the scenery, but we do want people to leave with some knowledge as well. And so a lot of the time people will come up to me and ask me one question, like, where are all the snakes, or what was this land before it was this? And I'll answer that question, and then it will lead to another question and more questions and more answers, and maybe a story from me. And once people just get a little bit of information about the site, it's like they want more. They want to hear more. Yeah. And so I really just enjoy people being open to asking those questions and open to hearing what I have to say, and then just talking to people about these sites, because I am just so passionate about them. So that's probably my favorite part, and just having people leave knowing they had a good experience, but also that they are more knowledgeable about what they saw. Yeah.
Even a year ago, did you think you would be living on the top of a mountain with your dog?
No, no, I did not think I was ever going to be that awesome or that lucky. Yeah. I did not think that. And I bet my dog didn't think that either. She's living the dream too.
No kidding. Yeah, she didn't have to work.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there's only one place at the top of Brasstown Bald, but if somebody that is maybe younger, that's entering college or in college right now, that just kind of some of the things that you're saying kind of strike a chord with them. Any experiential wisdom, having just gotten out of school, that you would give someone who's in that younger phase of life, whether it's high school, early college, completed their undergrad, thinking about grad school? What would you say to somebody that is like, well, I want to do that,
Yeah. So I think the reason I'm so successful, I guess if I can call myself that, being at the young age of 23, I think the reason that I have had any success is because I'm passionate about what I talk about. I have grown up in Georgia. I've gotten more familiar with North Georgia in just these past couple of months, and I've fallen in love with it. And I want everybody else to fall in love with it too. And really, it's not hard to fall in love with North Georgia. So my job isn't too difficult, but I am just so passionate about what I talk about. I value what I talk about, and I really care what I'm talking to people about. So I think just find what you're passionate about and roll with it, and don't stop, and find internships or volunteer opportunities and just show your passion. Because when I do talk to people, I think, and they see how much I care and all the passion that I'm holding on this subject, I think it's more impactful. What I'm saying to them is more impactful, and I think just makes what I am saying so much more important and worthy to them.
Yep. That's something I share with especially newer agents that I work with in the real estate world is, enthusiasm is contagious.
Yeah, 100%.
And people so often don't realize in anything, whether it's, parks, real estate, baking, whatever, your energy level and your enthusiasm transfers to people. And like you said, it gives them a level of engagement and wanting more. And so many people just miss that element, and it transfers to every aspect of the work world. It's relational, family application as well. But so few people realize, like, if you were more enthusiastic or energetic about your job or what you're doing or what you're pursuing, it will bleed over in so many good ways that you just can't even imagine. And so if if you hate what you're doing, you thoroughly hate it, you probably are in the wrong, you're in the wrong place.
And it shows a lot of the time too,
right.
It shows. But if you love what you're doing, it shows too. And I think that is what leads people, I said, to ask more questions and to continue discovering and exploring, because they see that I love it and they're like, well, I think I'm going to love it too.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, a question that we try to end every episode with is called Lightning Round, which is a question that has nothing to do about anything that we've talked about. I think it was in the Anna Ruby episode that you mentioned that you had played soccer before. So Lightning Round question is, which one of these dual career legends do you think you could score a penalty kick on easier? Oh. So if they were goalie, which one?
Who could I score?
Okay, so Will Smith.
Okay.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh.
And Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Who's going to be the weaker goalie that you could score on?
I think The Rock and Shaq were both pretty big athletes. Not that Will Smith is not. I'm sure he's a very fit guy.
You hear that, Will?
I love you, Will Smith.
You're the weak link.
I think it would be Will Smith. I feel like he'd be out there making jokes and playing around.
Not paying attention.
Yeah, and then I'd
trying to entertain everybody.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'd probably just start talking to him about something, try to distract him, and then score. But also, The Rock and Shaq are just such big, muscular guys. I feel like I couldn't.
Yeah, I would think that Will Smith might be. He's definitely not the most athletic of the three, but no offense, Will, you've got those two to compete with.
Yeah.
But I was like, I wonder if he would be more agile. I was thinking Shaq, because I could kick it low, and he probably couldn't get there.
That's a good idea,
but he's huge.
Yeah.
So he takes
I'd have
up
to make sure
whole,
I kicked it low.
He's so big, like he wouldn't need to move much to reach the ball.
Yeah. How big is this goal? We got to make sure we're not using like a little pug goal or something.
True.
We need a big goal.
That's a fair question. Yeah. There you go. That's the nature of
Will
our lightning
Smith.
round questions. Will Smith for the
Challenge
win.
me.
And the loss. All right, so if somebody is wanting to get more information on how to get to Brasstown, what sort of programs they could, talk to you about, if they want to take a maybe, you've got a homeschool co-op that wants to plan a field trip, or you've got a school or work department or somebody that just wants to get away for a Saturday and come up and see what all the hubbub's about. What's the best way for them to find out information about Brasstown, contact your organization, kind of so on?
Yeah. So I would think the first place you should go is our website. It is gofindoutdoors.org. All one word. We have information on our organization, the history of our organization, and we also have information on all our sites, campgrounds, museums, recreational areas, and so on. So all the information on our programs are also on that site. We also have Facebook pages. We're pretty active on social media. And so we have a Find Outdoors Facebook page, and then we also have a Brasstown Bald Facebook page, and all the information you want to know about the sites, any closures or updates on prices or any changes on what's going on or programs that are going on are all going to be on those social media pages on Facebook as well.
And if you are listening to this in the winter months, you do want to check that because of how high they are. The roads are
so
are up
Brasstown, so Brasstown is not open year round. I believe January 1st is when we will close, just because the roads do get pretty icy and it's pretty cold up there. But Anaruby Falls is open all year round, so feel free to go there. Yeah, awesome. But definitely check the websites and Facebook pages for that information.
Cool. Liberty, thanks again for your time, and with that, we'll wrap up.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much.
This is the North Georgia Life Podcast. Embrace life where you live.